So I'd like to introduce a reading by Bertrand Russell, a a well-known logician and philosopher from the first half of the 20th century. And he was also, can't recall if he was at Oxford or Cambridge, but he would have been around at the time of Keynes. And and I'm assigning a reading of his uh, titled "In Praise of Idleness." And I think certainly for part of this reading, he's being a bit tongue in cheek, but I think he is serious in the idea that work is not something that is innately good, and that leisure is sort of undervalued. So I think it's really interesting to contrast this point of view with the one that we saw in Brynjolfsson and McAfee. So, so I mean, what I was struck by when I read it, reread it just now before I made this video, is that I think that Brynjolfsson and McAfee come at it at the problem of work from a very sort of this is the way it is type of thing, type of point of view. You know, there's studies that show that unemployment makes people unhappy. I think one shocking statistic from that other reading is that being unemployed for more than 6 months has the same psychological effects on someone as losing their spouse. Um, to give an example, whereas Bertrand Russell, I think, has a much more uh, prescriptive view that sometime in the future, potentially, uh, you know, the culture that our culture could change. That we don't have to be tied down to work, and that it is certainly possible to be um, happy without, as he says, moving physical objects from one place to another, which is what he calls work. But anyway, I think it's a nice compliment to the Brynjolfsson and McAfee reading. Definitely a different point of view. And the other thing about it is that he's not advocating no work. He's advocating much less work. So Bertrand Russell says that people should work around 4 hours a day. Um, so it's also interesting. I'm going to put a picture in the on Canvas that shows the number of annual hours of work in different countries, and I calculated it beforehand. In Denmark, I think it works out to around 6.5 hours a day. So maybe we're not so far away from this ideal of Bertrand Russell's.